Hi, everybody. My name's Shamgar and I identify as a liberal Spotsylvania resident.
You're not going to do anything about
Point
this.
of order, Ms. Gillespie.
Please pause the children's
He's not
time
a
until we
chance.
can figure this out.
A point of order, Ms. Gillespie.
Yes,
He needs to state not where he identifies, but where he lives.
Is that in our policy?
It is in our policy. The district where he lives, and if he doesn't live in Spotsylvania, he needs to let the public know, and us.
And his real name.
Okay. All right. Are we able to figure out what our policy says on that?
It says clearly
You're my
stated name.
representative.
State
You're
your
my
name and your voting
Please
district.
have decorum, please, while we try to figure this out. Everyone
And
has freedom of
state your
speech.
name and your voting
Everyone
district.
has freedom of speech. So just, let's figure this out, please.
I got all my boosters, look, my little pony Band-Aids.
It does say,
What's this?
clearly state your name and voting district for the record. So she's correct. So the voting district, not address.
Okay, so if he doesn't live, I'm not familiar with other counties, Michelle, so do you want him to just say what county he lives in?
If he does not live in Spotsylvania County, he still needs to state his name, and then he needs to state, well, I would say his voting district would be wherever he lives, in what that county. Because he's not gonna say a county and a district in Spotsylvania if he identifies as. So, I think we just need him to say where he lives, please. His voting district and county. If it's not Spotsylvania.
Okay, Mr. Robinson has something to say.
I would suggest that Michelle is correct where it would say voting district. I mean, I guess in theory, you wouldn't have to identify the county, however, because it doesn't say that, however, I think would be appropriate certainly to say the general area where that individual lives, but it certainly says voting district of where that individual lives.
Okay. All right, sir, can you please tell us the voting district? Please.
His name as well, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
Board
my
members,
name-
can we please just
Point of
refrain?
information,
Yes, Ms. Phelps?
if he doesn't vote, then what is the consequence if he doesn't put in his voting district?
It's policy.
Mr. Robinson?
The policy would state that it's the voting district doesn't say necessarily whether he votes or not, in the voting district in which he lives. However, we are talking about a First Amendment right to be able to make a statement. However, the policy would say the voting district, which is what I'm saying, doesn't necessarily say the county. So if you live in X, Y, Z voting district, that's all that's required under the policy.
It just seems really bigoted that I can't just identify with what I want to identify with. I mean, especially all my liberal peers out here that love
Ms.
Point of
Gillespie,
order,
he doesn't
point of
have the
order.
floor.
Okay, order on the board. Who called the
Order
point
on
of
the
order?
floor.
Okay. Who called the point of order? I think we all did. Okay, so let's go one at a time then. Just bear with us, sir. Ms. Cole, the point of
He
order.
doesn't have the floor, is the point of order. And you have gotten instruction in regards to, and you already should know, and we stated at the beginning, for the minutes, that he's supposed to, that everyone in public comments, and you know this, is supposed to state their name and voting district. And so he should just be instructed to state his name and voting district so that he can then continue.
Yes, Ms. Cole, that's what I was trying to ask the gentleman before everybody started calling point of order, or whatever it is. You said somebody else called point of order?
I did, but, I don't want to belabor this anymore, but I am concerned that maybe he doesn't know his voting district, and if that's the case, then we need to figure out what step 2 would be if he doesn't know that.
Does anybody else have a point of order? No? Michelle? No? Okay.
Our Battlefield District. Anyway, I identify as a liberal Spotsylvania resident. My pronouns are liberal Spotsylvania resident, and you will respect my pronouns or else you'll be giving me dysphoria, and that will make you a homophobic, transphobic, racist. And
Miss
I'm here.
Gillespie.
I'm here.
Pause this gentleman's time again.
It never started running.
Is this
Is this a,
well, I know this is a freedom of speech, I get that. But if it's not related to what we're talking about today in terms of the agenda, I'm just wondering, why are we listening to this?
I
Because
mean,
every
we've had
speaker
people.
speaks their mind with nothing.
First
Okay,
Amendment
so-
right in the Brown
okay,
Act,
so-
to me, that's a couple reasons.
We've had people come up here and talk about books, we've had people talk about, trans, just, I've heard all kinds of different things this evening. I don't know,
Yeah, I haven't gotten to talk about it.
what considers a freedom of speech and what doesn't. That's where I'm at, and I'm trying to be in a legal realm here, I don't want to silence anybody.
So long as, I would suggest there's no, discussion of violence, or perhaps hate speech. You don't wanna necessarily curb First Amendment right speech, because then you start getting into trying to dissect every public comment speaker's statement. And then you start having to get into what's appropriate and what's not, particularly at that point. But I certainly, would say that, so long as it doesn't get into the realm of violence or, hate speech, that First Amendment's First Amendment and the public comment.
We just have students in schools, and I just want to make sure that we are being respectful of our students.
I understand that, and I can't control who comes here and who doesn't, and I don't know.
Ms. Phelps, I'm sorry,
I'm
Ms.
Ms.
Gillespie.
Gillespie.
You certainly can control the environment.
Kind of, did you just, I just heard my name called.
She accidentally called me Miss Phelps.
Okay, so, this is, public comment time, right, and we're continuing on with public comments, whether they're monotone or they're just sharing, right?
Point of order.
So, is that where we're at right now? I just heard somebody call my name, so I'm trying to figure it out,
It was a mistake. Point of order.
Thank you, Miss Phelps.
Can you clarify, what we're doing? I just see Dr. Daniels walking away, and I thought she called my name, so I'm just addressing that.
Ms. Phelps, the reason your name was called was because someone had mistaken my name for your name.
Okay, sorry, all right.
No, you're fine. And then I guess Ms. Daniels needed a break.
I'm on a delay on the computer.
Okay. Ms. Shelley?
I just wanted to remind that you are acting chair tonight,
Yes, ma'am.
not Ms. Phelps.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I was, thank you.
Madam Chair, point of information, if I may, let's just get a name and where the individual's from and move on with this.
Well, we received that, Mr. Twig, but we didn't,
So let's move
now
on.
there's questions on appropriateness, that's what this is.
There's been no display, point of information of anything inappropriate to this point. Let's move forward, Madam Chair.
Just
Mr. Bismarck?
Just to add on to what Mr. Twig said, I think it's important to reiterate what our legal said in regards to freedom of speech and just refrain from any hateful remarks or hate speech in the comments. And I ask that we do move forward with that in mind, what our legal advice is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bismarck. So, sir, if you could, sorry, sir, ma'am. I don't, I'm sorry. Mr. Citizen, can you please, just keep your comments, focused on our schools, our
It's
children.
about the schools.
If you could not have hate speech,
Yeah, no, I don't want to say speech. I'm all about love. I'm liberal.
okay, great. I'll
When
turn
they
your
go
mic,
low, I
I'll
go
turn your
high.
mic back on. All right. Can you please restart this gentleman's time? Thank you.
All right. Basically, we need to realize that at every single school board meeting we've had here, not one liberal, I mean, I don't identify as them, has ever even cared about or even spoken about test scores or proving the number of students passing. And listen, somebody slammed the desk, the thing last time, so I'll do it too. We can't start now, okay? The only reason that liberals get up here to speak, and we have to keep it going, is to keep making sure that they keep putting the sexualized material in schools, like the one that was a book located at Riverbend and Cortland High Schools, and it's called Empire of Storms by Sarah Mass. There's a lot of sexual acts in it, and that'll be read in a second. But anyway, before I get to that, I just wanted to ask if we could ban all conservatives from talking about banning books, because then we'd actually have to teach students actual subject matters, and that'd be horrible, okay? Because we all know all that matters is just talking about sexuality to kids. And Daniels, Nicole, Cole, and Don Shelley all be in support of what the liberals and Spotsy really want, which is age-inclusive, gender-inclusive, and race-inclusive policy allows people of any age to identify as any age they want and register in the schools. After all, it's about whatever someone feels like, and be age-phobic to say that someone can't identify as the age they want in schools. You know, if they want to identify as 11-year-old, non-binary, little girl, dragonkin, Apache, attack helicopter, they should be accepted. Trans rights, human rights, okay? And then these liberal Spotsylvania residents, they just want to use the bathroom, okay? And then, first, but on a serious note, liberal Spotsylvania residents want to thank Manchelle Obama for paving the way and being the first trans black woman. Because we all saw Manchelle's thing swinging around in those white pants on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and no one's ever seen a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant, ever, not even one. And now that we saw Tucker Carlson's interview last week, and Obama's confirmed to be gay, he hooked up with and had sex with Larry Sinclair twice, we just want to appreciate these people as our role models, okay? And then there was a quote Obama made last week where he said he had sex with men every day, but only in imaginary. So shout out to Manchelle Obama for paving the way as the first trans black queen. And we also want to talk about these books where you talked about, let's read a couple passages to go along with the theme. Where the book I spoke of earlier says, please, she breathed, nails digging into his lower back in emphasis. Roman's low groin was his only answer as he hoisted her up. She wrapped her legs around his waist, carrying not to the bed but to the wall, and the sensation of the cool wood against her back compared to the head and the hardness of pushing him into the front, blah, blah, blah. There's still sexuality in the books, and I know all the Spotsylvania liberal, they love it. Just wanted to make that apparent. Thank you, everybody.